most of their time dwelling on business talk should go home. They don't deserve any leadership position. Who do you think he was talking to?
Well, you've brought it so well. He said that those who are loitering must now, retreat and focus on the well-being of the people they represent. Just a while back, barely 4 months ago, he mentioned the deputy president as Tanga person loitering around. So when then he addresses his people and draws the same trajectory, it means that he's bundling those who are tangering with his deputy around the country to the detriment of development of their regions. That is exactly what the president was saying. But let me bring into this issue, which is correlated. The president has been a victim and a casualty to imposition or being given by a particular leader to the people. In the year 2002, he reigned as president, having been given to the people by the former president Daniel Arap Moi. Many people rejected Uhuru not because they disliked him, but just because he looked as an imposter by the outgoing president. That is exactly what he's doing. Honorable Kirwa has just said about Obama's endorsing Hillary Clinton and Hillary Clinton being defeated at the ballot. So president is trying to be cautious that instead of engaging into politics that may be dangerous and hazardous to a candidate, let us retreat, focus our attention on development, and when the right time comes, we shall see what we are going to do. But I think Uhuru is barely 1 year in office since he was sworn in for his second term. Barely.
Just over 1 year?
No.
In office,
no.
Just
since he's swearing in.
Since he's swearing in, okay.
Since he's swearing in. It's
not
not a year yet. And here we are talking about succeeding the same guy who is just barely a year in office. So he's looking at it as a diversionary kind of politics. We must concentrate on, and he has set forth his 4-point agenda that he's working around the clock to deliver to the Kenyan people.
Okay.
So diverting this attention and having people talk about succeeding him, it does not sit well with him. And that is why he's ready to call everybody any name, including a loiter around town.
Honorable Kirwa, and as you respond, I want to ask you this question. For all of you, again, actually. Why would Kenyatta say, my peak will shock you, or shock anyone for that matter? I mean, it should not shock us that it's in the public domain if what they said last year campaigning is anything to go about that.
Yeah, that's true.
He is going to support Deputy President William Ruto when that time comes. So that should not be a shocker. Everybody knows it. So when he says it will shock you, is he talking about a new person now? Something's going to shock us?
Definitely.
Well, I think first of all, that is a statement that would be very undemocratic if he was to tell us it's William Ruto.
If you were to?
If we were to tell us it is William Ruto who's going to succeed him.
Yeah.
Because if there was such an arrangement, they did not arrange with all Kenyan voters. And therefore, it must give us the latitude of freedom to decide who our next president is. At times when you mention an individual, you actually make him get so much focused. People get focused on him. And he may run the risk of being destroyed before the next election. Number two, it is also unfortunate in Africa that we have patronized our politics to the extent that it is about communities, it's about individuals, but it is not about integrity and issues that to say so and so is outstanding. Look at our country, our neighbor here in Tanzania. The first president who comes from a large tribe is the current president, Magufuli, who comes from the Sukuma nation. Otherwise, the other 4 presidents come from minority tribes who hardly have more than 2 MPs. But here in Kenya, we believe is a tribe that can take us somewhere, and we make everybody insecure. Remember the 2002 election? It was a vote against Moi. 2007 election, it was a vote against the Kikuyu. That's why they were saying 41 against 1. Now, 2013, unfortunately, was the wrong vote. That now it was referendum against the Hague. Now, the last election, I do not know. It was said to be performance against those who are outside the government. Now, the next election, people who have been saying we were looking for under 50, they will be over 50. Now, which agenda are they giving us? And that's why they have degenerated to a situation where they are talking of the nation of hustlers and dynasties. There is no dynasty whatsoever. In America, Bush was succeeded by his own son. And therefore, it's not a crime for my son to want to be a minister, or my daughter to want to be a minister because I was a minister. It is like telling a pastor, of necessity, you should not have a pastor from your family. So the issue is, let us look for a man or woman of integrity, and the president making that statement, it might shock you by saying nothing. The way Kibaki said nothing as he was going home.
Although he said my pick, so he already has a pick in mind.
Yeah, okay.
Is there somebody in mind?
Possibly meant his move.
Okay.
Well,
I think
Martha Wangari is in
Yes,
the Jubilee Party.
yes.
Okay, and this is, I mean, in the public domain, it was said that the deputy will succeed the president later on. That's still far off. But my question was, by saying it will shock you,
I think what the
it
president...
means somebody else. Or?
Because, you know, when someone says something, we can only now analyze what he said. And I can say, I think, you know, there has been a lot of talks that, like, they say that maybe he won't pick William Ruto, maybe they are not working together. There has, even within our circles, that the chemistry has fallen apart. And there has been there has been a lot of that talk. I think for the president, what he was trying to say is that whatever, I still have a voice. And that's for me what I picked. That you don't think my silence, that I don't have an opinion. And he was very clear if you read in the context. And he said, people say because I'm going home, I won't have an opinion. But I want to tell you, I'll still have an opinion. I think everyone has that choice. And he has the choice to say something or not to say something. It is personal. But we hope that at the end of the day, the successor will be Jubilee government for me. That it will still be Jubilee government to continue.
So that's William Ruto?
I have
because that was the plan. I mean, unless you're saying you also
the MOU, you know, he alluded to a written thing, and I don't know.
No, the written thing. What was said in public?
No, he said that. He said the written, and I think it was not written, but it has been said in.
Well, MOUs have been rejected in this country, written and otherwise. In 2007, we had an MOU with President Mwai Kibaki. Yeah, he discarded it. So MOU, no MOU, you know, only time will tell. But you know, Hussein, what is obvious does not shock anybody. What has been said in the lips of every person in Kenya since 2013 was that William Ruto is automatic successor to President Uhuru Kenyatta. Not as president, but as candidate. Okay? And if Uhuru Kenyatta will go ahead to name him or lend his support, he's only one vote anyway. If he will do so, then that will not shock anybody because that is what has been expected anyway. Yeah. But if he will name somebody, and I think that is what he is perhaps alluding to, that he's going to shock the country by his preferred candidate. And that is what we are waiting for. But because it is too early in the day, 4 years in politics is
quite a long
time.
Quite a long time.
And many dynamics will fall into place.
Right.
So he's saying, let the right time come, and let the shocker be delivered in real time.
All right, as we leave this, one more question. I also find it very interesting now that the president has been talking about, you see, let's work, don't focus on 2022. Yeah. Yesterday he was forced to say something about 2022 and say, you know.
We are not talking about it.
We are not talking about it. But also saying, my pick will shock you. But this is another interesting thing that's now, Uhuru Kenyatta, the president, is now saying, I will firmly be in the succession politics of 2022. That is what he's saying, essentially. That he is going also to play a role in determining his successor. Complicates the matrix for some, maybe makes it easier for others. I don't know what you think by the president now doing this. I mean, now we are assured that the president will play a role in succession. I don't know how that settles with you.
Well, the way I see it is that I think President Uhuru, the way Mheshimiwa Wangari has said, wants to build Jubilee as a party. You know, in Africa, we do not have so many parties. We just have either one or two. And many others are just parties which are fashioned out for the purpose of election. After elections, those parties are abandoned on the runway. And therefore, possibly President Uhuru Kenyatta wants to fashion Jubilee into a genuine political party. And that means he's going to still remain the member of Jubilee. And he might build other coalitions. Because the way I see Kenya for many years to come, a coalition like Jubilee is likely to have some kind of atrophy politically. And that atrophy may destroy it to the extent that what remains of Jubilee after the party nomination of a presidential candidate may be a proportion of what Jubilee is today. And therefore, who knows? The president may want to engage other coalitions like ODM, like KANU, or any other outfit for the purpose of ensuring that they have a winning combination come 2022. And that's why he's saying he still wants to be a factor in the next election because he's going to be a member of Jubilee, the way Wangari will be.
Will be in Jubilee.
Yeah. And I think just to add on that, you know, if you look at the way he put it yesterday, he was very clear that we are headed, where we are headed, I'll have a voice. But one thing that is also very clear is that he is not interested in remaining in an official government capacity. And I think some of us have misread that to actually now start thinking we need to amend the constitution to include him, which is totally out of order. And I think I would not even discuss it. And even himself, he said, I'm ready to retire. And he'll still hold a position because you have been a president for 10 years. You cannot just disappear, and you are young still, because some of the former presidents, like let's say Mzee Kibaki,
a former president is in itself a position.
It's already a position, and you cannot ignore him. And more importantly, he's not like Mzee Kibaki, who was already into his
70s.
sunset years in 70s. This will still be a young person heading into 60s. He'll still be very active. And I think if you look at the investment that has been put to build a political party, I think it has been a lot of investment. And I think even going forward, the one thing we have to agree is that, for me, is that Jubilee still will get to hold the power in 2022. The terms of details, we will work them out, because he says he will have an opinion, and I can also tell you, even of us, some of those of us in, under him will still have opinions, and you cannot also curtail that. And that's why even he tells people to keep quiet. Some will still talk, because it's your democratic right to talk. So it will still happen. But I think going forward, he'll still be a statesman, he will still be our leader, he'll still be a former president, which is also an office. So he'll have a voice. I
think Hussein, by that pronouncement yesterday by the president, he has put the question of succession politics to rest. Under two fronts. One, he has said that he will shock the country by his candidate. That therefore means that everybody who's been angling for succession has to be taken back a bit, to retreat.
I think if that would be the shock.
Yes, thinking that they would be the shock. Yeah, that is bit number one. Bit number two, he has said that he will play a pivotal role towards succession. So people are asking, this pivotal role, does it mean funding? Does it mean physical campaign? What does it really entail? And you know, this guy is still
changes the game.
Instruments of the state.
Right.
The power, the opulence, the trappings are still with him. So that pronouncement yesterday, I know, as a matter of fact, that will bring down this issue of succession politics. But again, he just made a very good move to reach across the aisle by incorporating his fiercest critic and opponent, Raila Odinga, that they would want to work together to unite this country. And once you have chosen to unite a nation, and issues of politics and succession are still at the center stage, then to a larger degree derails that particular mandate and that particular vision. So he's saying, let's put politics to rest. Let me work with Right Honorable Raila Odinga to reach every part of this country, unite the country under the auspices of inclusivity. Let's move the country forward.
Okay, let's pull up that page again as we take a break, just to show you what we'll discuss later on.